Welcome to Future Horizons, the Tempest podcast. I'm your host, Zevi Watmough. A central pillar of the Team Tempest programme is capturing the imagination of the next generation of engineers and aviators. The Tempest Early Careers Network, or TECN, wants to inspire those at the start of their careers, as well as people who are embarking on their secondary education. They'll become the leaders of the programme in the future as the systems come into service in 2035. In this episode, we look at how the network's cross-partner mentoring scheme is helping to strengthen the transformative collaboration that is delivering Team Tempest. Joining us today is David Owens, a TECN cross-partner mentoring scheme coordinator, TECN member Parampal and his mentor Tony Clare, Transformation Programme Manager at Rolls Royce. We're also joined by Blossom Hill, who is a Talent Development Advisor at Team Tempest partner MBDA. David, starting with you, I think it was Steven Spielberg who said that there's quite a delicate balance to be struck when you're mentoring someone, because it's not really about creating them in your own image, but rather giving them the opportunity to create themselves. How will the cross-partner mentoring scheme help young people do just that?
The mentoring scheme is aimed to develop our young people in the Tempest generation and equip them with the skills they need for their future inside the Tempest project into the next 30 years, hopefully. And we are looking at our mentors who are further on in their careers and much more experienced to pass down that knowledge, but also share that knowledge throughout the industry. This is sort of the first time in generations that we have been able to share this knowledge from between these different industries and companies in this way, partnering also with the MOD. And it's incredible to see what benefits that is bringing to the programme.
And you're somebody, David, you're actually quite passionate about giving people the ability to be quite agile, to network. How do you start building those blocks where you help them understand the proactive role that they've got to play in their own advancement?
So we start out in the scheme by introducing them to the mentors and letting them choose a mentor based on the skills they wish to see in their future and sort of the behaviours they wish to see in their future. And then matching them with those mentors and equipping them with goals and objectives to develop in those partnerships. We see them share that knowledge with their mentor and learn different skills to further their own careers. Some of them have gone on to lead national institutions in their areas of expertise at the graduate and apprenticeship level. And so we are seeing them go from strength to strength.
Parampal, you joined MBDA back in September 2021, and you've actually experienced this mentoring scheme. What's it been like for you as a mentee?
It's been pretty rewarding, I'd say. For myself, obviously, transitioning from coming out of education to going into the defence industry, obviously somewhere where you know talk about that at university, and then trying to, I guess, navigate a career path going forwards. Tony's helped immensely to kind of identify areas which would kind of suit my skill set, and hopefully try and put a plan together going forwards and identify opportunities that would allow me to grow and become a better engineer at the end of the day.
So if you just sort of look at yourself right now and compare yourself to before your mentoring, what are the changes you've seen in yourself?
I definitely see myself as more confident. I know what my strengths and weaknesses are. I know more so what my plan is really going forward as an engineer. I know what opportunities I need to take and capture in order to become an aspiring manager, which is my where I would like to end up in a few years' time. So knowing basically where I really want to go and how to actually do it. And I think that's where a lot of people on the graduate scheme are quite unsure, but I definitely feel I know that a lot more compared to before the programme.
Tony, how do you approach the mentoring, and are all mentors the same? Because you do get different types. You get some people who are coaches and some people who challenge. How do you decide individual to individual what the right approach is?
Basically, for myself and Parampal, as an example, best thing really is to understand what each individual wants to get out of the mentoring and tailor to suit. So having that initial conversation of where that person is in their journey on their career, what their aspirations are, and then to understand what value I can provide to that person. So sometimes it can be simple as some coaching and some advice or training, sort of guidance, or it could just be literally just a general chit chat about the world, or somewhere in between. It's purely, you've got to accommodate what that person really wants to get out of it, and that will really help. That really helps more. I think that's what adds the rewarding element. Is that kind of personal touch to the mentoring.
And Tony, you've had 6 years experience in the program management side of the business and 9 years experience as a manufacturing engineer. And what's good about that is that you've seen the business from very different perspectives. Is there a temptation to personalise the mentoring according to your own experiences, or do you take a more systems-based approach?
It's kind of a bit of both, really. I suppose, again, it depends on what the person really wants. You can't help but go to back to your own experiences. The thing you got to bear in mind as a mentor, you can't use your experiences as the sole kind of basis to kind of justify and advise how someone else should be working, because there's things that I've done that might have been a mistake for me that I don't want someone else to do. So that's kind of good things to share. It's a bit of a challenge initially to kind of compartmentalise what real good things from your past and your experiences are really good to share with the person. It's kind of looking at that bigger bit of what is the question beyond the initial question that mentee's asked me. Like, he doesn't really want to know what I've done for the last 5 years and for me to give chapter and verse. That's not important. It's what sort of key things have I done to get to that point, and how can I help that person go forward and ultimately do better than me. I mean, ultimately mentors are there to try and shape and influence that new generation to be even better than the existing generation.
Blossom, you started out as a business apprentice and you've seen firsthand the way that people talk about transformation when they're talking about technology, but the transformation when you're talking about people is altogether a different type of development. Why do you feel that mentoring is such an important tool if we really are to equip our workforce for the challenges that are going to lie up ahead?
Yeah, so I think Tempest is a really unique opportunity for people to be involved in at the minute, and it brings an opportunity to bring new ways of working and thinking. So mentoring is really important to support the learning and help individuals develop their potential. So a mentoring relationship is one where both the mentor and mentee recognise the need for that personal development. I think Tony mentioned it as well, that if you sat here thinking, why have I got a mentor, then maybe it's not the right intervention for what you need. Both need to be really bought into it to make sure that you're getting the most out of it.
Do you know what I think about sometimes is that the fact that sometimes people who've already got enormous self-confidence think, right, I need a mentor, and they go off and find one. But what about the people who don't yet see their enormous potential and perceive the fact that they deserve one too? Is there a risk of stratification of people according to their self-belief? And how do you combat that, Blossom? How do you encourage more people to say, yeah, okay, I'm open to having a mentor?
Yeah, so I think one thing that we do in particular at MBDA is that mentoring is open to everyone. You don't have to be at a certain level in the business. You don't have to be at a certain point in your career, it's open to all. We also have a number of different things, such as this partnership we've got across Tempest, but there's reverse mentoring, there's the traditional mentoring, so there's all different parts of mentoring that you can get involved in, which might be the right thing in your career. So like you mentioned, maybe not having the confidence to send that initial email to sign up to a mentor, but if you were in David or Parampal's situation in that early careers, I think this network is a great example and a great foundation to get you into a mentoring relationship.
David, how do you think in a very concrete way that the mentoring programme is empowering individuals to collaborate actively on the programme?
Well, I'll touch on a couple of things there. Our mentor, we'll stress that our mentors, a lot of them are in very senior positions, and as we were saying, this program is open to everyone, but some of the mentees we see wouldn't have access to those mentors in ordinary times. And I just came off a meeting actually where we were talking about how we can open this up further to more people, and what things we need to tailor this program to address it towards introverts as well. So we are really opening this up to anyone who would like a mentor, has the opportunity, and those mentors, as we've seen, are really finding benefit in the partnerships too. So the collaboration is across the board, and because we are sharing knowledge between companies and between partners in the program, we are seeing that these future relationships are being built so that in 10 or 20 years, when say Parampal is a senior manager, he has networks across the industry that he can rely on. And it's not just with Tony in this case, it's with some of the other mentees that he's made contact with as well. So when we are further down the road on this program, he will have those contacts he can lean on for just everyday problems that he's facing, or everyday interactions he's having to see. It's building that network of people who are all working towards that same mission.
Parampal, can you give listeners some examples of people you can go to and what kind of context you'd go to them for, like a technical challenge or more of an interpersonal challenge? What does that look like?
So I think one big opportunity that the TECN partnership and the mentoring scheme has enabled me is to actually get more involved on the actual TECN side of things. So I'm part of the projects team now for TECN, and as a result of that, I actually regularly converse with people from Rolls Royce, mod, MBDA, BAE systems that necessarily I wouldn't have known about, and also probably wouldn't have actually understood what their area of expertise are. So in terms of just widening the network, I've been able to do that through this partnership. And the second kind of part of that is obviously Tony's been quite instrumental in not only referring to himself about being able to kind of soundboard from him, but also to kind of provide contacts in certain areas where I may want to kind of look into people in a further case. So being able to be part of the scheme has kind of, at the minute, at the stage of my career, at least been able to widen my network as such, from a kind of interpersonal level rather than a technical level as such.
Tony, do you think that these skills will help people working at each of the companies to pivot out to the SMEs and the suppliers they deal with more effectively?
Yeah, I think so. I think where this scheme's really valuable, as Parampal said, it's getting that exposure to a broader network in a kind of safer environment than you would traditionally be exposed to. And so having this kind of like more safer space in an environment where everyone has kind of like-minded ideas, there is a cross-company boundary. So again, me and Parampal don't talk about anything specifically technical. We're affiliated with our businesses. But we have that knowing and understanding based on the project. I hope it does give that confidence, so you could potentially be empowered. Parampal could go to Japan, for example, and go and have a nice conversation technically with his colleagues over in Japan or whatever. And also, from my point of view, if I'm going to go to a supplier or another part of the business, and talk to younger colleagues, new colleagues in the business, I kind of also understand the different sort of like lifestyles and cultures, etc. that comes with mentoring. I get a bit more of an appreciation of the generation behind me in terms of how potentially they'd be interested or what they want me to approach them about or talk about.
Blossom, you get the sense that diversity is very important for the TECN programme, and there were researchers at Birkbeck, University of London, who were asking people what would keep them in a role, and they mentioned psychological safety mattering more than knowledge of neurodiversity or people's specific neurodivergent needs, that making people feel that they belong and that they can converse openly is hugely important. How do you embed that within the cross-partner mentoring scheme?
Yeah, so I think, this is a great example of being able to work with people at similar points of the career with similar interests, but across the different companies, across the different partnership. And that will help greatly with, knowledge and skill transfer, being able to give a different perspective on situations. Employees from different backgrounds can bring a variety of skills, ideas and experiences, so being able to share this is only going to drive progress amongst the teams.
And I would like to learn from each of you what you think about the ways in which mentorship is playing a role in fostering innovation and pushing the boundaries of technology and technological advancements. To you, David, first, what do you think about that?
I think the benefits of mentorship, as I've mentioned, we see lessons being learned across the partners between different individuals, and I really, not just in the mentoring scheme, but across the whole of the Tempest Early Careers Network, I feel like a lot of the other members in other companies, we're all working towards the same goals and the same. We have the same sort of mindset on these things. It doesn't feel like they're part of a different organisation. We're all part of this one team, and having that collaboration and that sense of team spirit between us only allows us to work better and innovate in different ways. Bringing together that with the diversity we've mentioned, having all of these different people working really well together, but bringing so many different diverse views, that is the key to unlocking innovation.
Parampal, when you're working at the forefront of technology, why do you think collaboration is so important?
I think, obviously it enables you to work on problems with differing views and in unique ways by having a diverse background. So working with people from different areas of the business, you get to see how they would approach a problem, for example. So it enables you to kind of get different perspectives and maybe look at a faster way of achieving a solution to a problem.
Tony, Mark Zuckerberg had Steve Jobs as a mentor and Bill Gates had Warren Buffett. How important is it to get senior buy-in to this very important activity and to help them see that this has very serious technological implications?
I think especially with our businesses, with the hierarchy in our businesses and the diversity of our businesses, if you don't have that real senior buy-in, you're never going to be able to get sort of the people below us, or below them rather, engaged or inspired by doing this. So particularly in my domain, I have a privileged sort of like leadership team in terms of they are very well on board with doing these things, and they've been very much at the forefront of encouraging new ways of working. We've deployed agile. We are encouraging sort of hybrid working, being a bit more of your own boss, and that kind of those sort of small things compared with how businesses of these sort of sizes would have operated sort of 20 years ago, it adds more, not necessarily safety to the business and to like the workplace. It definitely gives people a sort of sense of worth and value in terms of why they're doing what they're doing, why it's so important, and it's appreciated and recognised more than anything. And it can be very simple things from having that little bit of freedom to a director being able to sit next to you in the office. We have an open office where all manners of leadership and levels and experience all sit together, literally collaborate together in the same area. You can have someone sort of 5 levels above you one day, you could have someone completely different the next, and that kind of feeds everyone's enthusiasm really well.
Blossom, the author Truman Capote once said that failure is the condiment that gives success its flavour. How do you build resilience in as a very core skill set? Because if there's something we've learned about technology, it sometimes takes several iterations and a lot of gritty determination to see it through. So how do you make young people feel that they have everything it takes to create remarkable technology?
I think the support that comes with being on an early career scheme is invaluable. I was an apprentice myself almost 10 years ago now, so I recognise the benefit of that support that you get from day one, and I think this partnership across Tempest is a great example of the support network. So it's not just about mentoring, it's about everything that comes with it, and I think resilience is a big part of that. It's a big part of our life nowadays. The conversations are moving on a lot since I've started as an apprentice nearly 10 years ago. So it is really important to embed that, and I think one of the big things about being a mentor is, you're available for advice and support, and the opportunity to discuss any thoughts, ideas or concerns. So that helps with supporting a young person in the workplace.
Parampal, maybe it's appropriate we finish with you because you are a mentee. How would you encourage young people to get the most out of their mentorship?
I think the biggest part is kind of just being open, being honest about your experience and where you'd like to see yourself going. If you do know, and so in a lot of cases people don't really know where they want to go, and that's absolutely fine as well. And that's why you want to utilize your mentor to the full capacity to make sure that you can gain as much out of them as you can from their experience, and see what's appropriate to yourself. So definitely being as open and honest as you can about yourself.
Parampal, Tony, David and Blossom, thank you all so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Join us again for the next episode of Future Horizons, the Tempest podcast.